Call to order the March 11th meeting, the Conestoga Valley Board of School Directors. I'd like to welcome everyone, those of you that are here and those that are joining us online. And will you please join me in the pledge to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the United States of America,
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mrs. Martin, may we have attendance?
There are 7 school board directors present in person. Dr. Martin is participating online and Phil Hurst is absent.
And also note that joining us is the superintendent and the administrative cabinet. This is our work session, the first of 2 meetings per month, in which we deliberate most of the informational presentations, as well as discuss and deliberate future decisions. There may be some action voting items required on timely issues or to meet time restraint guidelines. All agendas and related documents are posted on the district website. Are there any changes, additions, or deletions to the agenda from the board? If not, I'll take a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Are there any nays or abstentions? If not, the agenda is approved. Dr. Hartman, the floor is yours.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Don't have a lot to report this evening. I will next week, but we're continuing to chug along here as the school year goes. Starting to pivot our mindset a little bit, starting to think about next year. I want to commend our admin team. At our next board meeting next week, we should have at least 3 teacher candidates to bring forward for next year already. So we're really ahead of the game with hiring, which you need to be in today's climate of the teacher shortage. So we attended the Millersville Job Fair last week, which was wildly successful. Talked to a lot of strong candidates, and so we're moving right along in that department. Also, we have a couple other things that are we're starting to wrap up now. That once we put them to rest, I think we can start thinking about the end of the year and closing the school year and focusing our attention on that and planning for next school year. So on the 18th, next Monday, we will be presenting our final draft of our comprehensive plan, which we're seeking approval on, and also be seeking action on our tentative agreement, the collective bargaining agreement. So two big ticket items that we're hopefully going to be crossing the finish line with here shortly. So that concludes my report.
This is our version of senioritis, more or less.
It's that time of year. Yeah.
Are there any board comments on district activities?
So they had what Saturday was that? Where they had the dodgeball tournament plus the concert, the homecoming concert, which had a huge group of the community came out and sang with the kids, which was awesome. The dodgeball tournament was very entertaining, as well as the names that they chose.
As well as what?
The names that they chose for their teams, very entertaining, if not slightly inappropriate sometimes. But it was a lot of fun to watch that, especially to watch 7th graders, 6th graders, 8th graders, all the way up through high school. Like just watching them go to town throwing balls at each other was really hilarious. And then of course the choir concert was really well done. So that was a good day for CV.
We also had the piano dedication concert on Saturday. That was very well. Once it got started, it was well attended.
Great turnout.
I hope everyone's okay. I don't know if we've heard anything.
Not officially.
No, okay.
I will say it was good to see her when they took that employee out. There was 2 thumbs up.
Oh, was
the
it?
gurney.
I wasn't sure if it was an
everybody went
employee or a
nuts.
parent.
Yeah, everybody went nuts. So when the
Oh,
person was finally being taken out, they gave 2 thumbs up, which was great.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good to hear. This is a point in the meeting where the public, if they would like to wish to address anything on the agenda. If not, we'll move right on to action discussion items of the first reading of District Policy 700. Does anyone have any questions or concerns in any of these policies? Kathy, did you get all of your questions answered?
I was working on the contract.
Oh, you were supposed to the Okay, my question is this. I don't know how many of you have had how much time to read over them all. Are we prepared to do a first reading vote next meeting, or do we need to put this off a month?
I'm fine with the first.
We ready to, okay, then we'll leave that on the agenda for next week.
Ready next week as well.
Okay. Transportation agreement, Mrs. Hunsinger.
Hello. So one of our challenges has been finding transportation for some of the unique transportation circumstances. If we have a child who's homeless and we have to transport them, or if there's a special placement, we have to take them further. So there's always that challenge, and also looking at cost. So Dawn Dixon, our transportation director, found a company, because we've been poking around looking for companies in the area. And this company is Assist Services. What is unique about Assist Services is that its employees use their own personal vehicles instead of purchasing a transportation van. They'll use whatever vehicle they have. There's certain requirements on the vehicles as to how old they have to be, that they meet all certain requirements. And of course, same with all the employees that are actually providing the driving. They have to meet all of their clearances and other requirements. So because that was a little unique, none of our other contractors use their employees' personal vehicles. I wanted to point this out to you specifically. I did check with Jeff Litz, our attorney. He had one slight change to the agreement, and he was fine with it. I also checked with our insurance company to make sure that we're covered here from any accidents. And also in the terms of the agreement, they fully indemnify us against any liability. The prices are about, we just ran like two real quick scenarios of what the cost would be for a trip using Assist Services. And it's a little more than half the price of having a contractor use one of their vehicles.
With insurance, are we liable if they're in an accident, or are they
They fully
personally?
indemnify us. They fully indemnify us, yes. And they've got sufficient insurance coverage as well.
Okay, and of course, they always have to have the clearances, we know.
Oh, yes, yes. And other stipulations, no driver can be under the age of 21, so.
The only question I had was, it made me wonder if this was outdated slightly, because under fuel surcharge, in the event that the weekly fuel price is determined to be above $3 per gallon, in the event, if they're finding gas from the $3 a gallon,
I'm going there.
yeah.
Okay, Eagle Eyes, that's a good one. I will,
That one just made, I'm like, well, then it's
Yeah.
always 5% of the total invoice, because gas is not gonna be under
Yeah.
$3 a gallon for
good
this
catch
year.
on that. I will contact them and have them update that.
Yeah,
This contract we have right now expires in July of this year. And I'm okay with that. It's a short time frame, but let's just test it out, see how they work. And
Sure.
if we're comfortable with them, we'll just renew their agreement for the next school year.
It's usually $5.
I have a question.
Yes,
don't say
Diane
that.
has a
Martin
question.
has a question.
yes, Diane.
And this is maybe really simplistic, but are there personal vehicles, do they have some kind of like magnetic sticker or
Yes.
something that says like school students on board? Like, what does that look like?
Yes, they have the magnetic stickers that go on saying Assist Services. I can verify if they have something on there that says school students on board.
Okay, I just want to make sure
No.
that the vehicle was identified in
Yes.
some capacity, but
Yes.
thank you.
Good question. Anything else?
You'll have those two things taken care of by next week?
Yep.
Okay, it'll be on the consent agenda.
Okay, thank you all very much.
Awesome. Sit down.
That's it, folks. Would you like to review the board agenda for next week? We will definitely have a vote on the first reading of the 700 policies.
Actually, it would be the second. This agenda is the first reading. If you put it on next week, it'll be second and final.
No, we haven't voted a first reading here. We just discussed it.
Okay.
I had a question mark there because I didn't know if that was supposed to be an action item or not.
Okay, that's my
Yeah.
error.
To go back to our old schedule, we always gave a month between when we read them.
Okay,
and
so we'll
this
put it
one was
on
condensed.
consent for approval as first.
First, and then
April. Got it.
next.
Thank you.
Okay, because I suspect on some of those, there may still be some questions, which reminds me, I did question one. On some of them, it said something about do not approve. There were PDFs, and I wasn't sure what that meant. 702.1 crowdfunding,
Yeah, we
And-
not to,
707. Are we not approving them?
Those are ones that the committee, the policy committee, when we reviewed them, they were ones that were provided by PSBA, but that we, as a committee, would not be recommending adopt.
Okay, so we're not going to be adopting. I just want to make sure I understood that. Okay. I think I understand why, but I get it. Okay, I'm sorry I forgot to mention that when I brought it up. Anything else on either of the discussion items before I move this forward? If not, again, if the public has any comments they'd like to make on any issues, it would be at this time. Are there any board initiatives or announcements? I have one, Mr. Talley brought this up earlier, but although this isn't a meeting where I usually give the PSBA report, I did want to make sure everyone had their copy of this. Did you want to mention the goal-setting piece or not?
No, I just thought one of the articles in there that was really good this month was, or this time, there was a good article on setting board goals. So is that's something we're thinking about going in the next school year? What our new goals will be as a board with a new comp plan? I think there's some strategies and suggestions for how we go about that in that article that might be helpful.
Yeah, I agree. Which leads me to my usual announcement to remind the board that we are facing all sorts of new goal setting that we'll be doing this year. In addition to board goals that we do every year, I will tell you that Dr. Martin and I met and did a quick review of where we are from last year's and this year's board goals. And I'll wait for, when we get there to go over that. We'll have the comprehensive plan goals, as I mentioned before. You should keep a copy of those and compare those to our current 3-year district goals to see what we want to keep, what we want to get rid of, what we want to update. We also will have coming up in, May, superintendent's evaluation. And the way our contract is set up now, every year we have to put an amendment to that contract with the next year's goals. So we'll have those to consider. And lastly, the one thing I thought of when looking at all these new goals that we're setting, and we set the goals, but we're not the people that make them happen. Nonetheless, I think it would be helpful if this time around we spent a little time thinking about what we as a whole board or as individuals can do to help move these goals forward or to help make that possible. Because just setting goals and walking away from them sort of relieves us of responsibility. And I think that's not the way it's supposed to work. So that's just my take on what you should keep in mind as we go into that.
Question,
Yes.
we've been advertising now for 2 weeks in the bulletin blast, asking for public comment. Are we getting comments? Who is collecting those comments?
You're referring to the comprehensive plan?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think so.
the steering committee has reviewed the feedback and that will be part of our presentation on Monday.
What's the feedback looking like? 2 or more than 10?
She's not going to wait till next month.
What's that?
She said, are there 2?
How many total comments?
41.
Yeah,
Great,
yes.
great.
I don't want to steal anybody's thunder from next week, but one of the things that was nice to see was what the community, whether they were parents or whoever provided feedback, shared as being their priorities for the district were very consistent with what we were planning as far as goals. There, you can definitely see a congruence and alignment there.
Yeah. And please remember, our district goals, although some of them match up, and I sat down last week and tried to match which of our goals match which of the ones there. But remember that our district goals cover more than just the student achievement part that the comprehensive plan seems to focus on. Anything else? Now that we have the time to talk about it. If not, we may be setting ourselves a whole new record. I will take a motion to adjourn to executive session for discipline, legal, and personnel reasons.
So moved.
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned in